Alright, so... Whoa, the microphone's about to fall over. It's a hell of a start to this. Anyway, so looking at number 3 from last time, just wanted to remind you of some of the steps we talked about. So things you can do is just work up one bar at a time. And you could... If you feel like one bar is like particularly odd or difficult, you can do the same bar like a few times in a row before moving up. But have to do it like one bar at a time if you even feel you need to. And do 2 bars at a time. So you want to go with combinations of bars 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 3 and 4, and then 4 and 1. So this way you practice the repeat. And then once you can do all those up to speed, then you're going to do everything. And you can add an additional step and just play everything without the repeat, and then add the repeat in there. So when you come across something, let's say like you get to 100 beats a minute, and let's say going in to bar number 4 is a trouble spot. So just work on going from bars 3 into 4. So play bars 3 and 4 again. Do it a few times, make sure it gets more comfortable. You can even abbreviate part of it. Maybe just work on that. Because I thought about that because one thing that was happening today is you would play the F5 here instead of switching to the G5. So that's why I suggest maybe even just doing something like that, just playing like the and just that several times until it becomes more comfortable, and then expand on that. Maybe just practice going there to there. Do that a few times until it's more comfortable, and then eventually get all 2 bars again, and then put everything together again. So yeah, when you run into trouble spots, instead of just slowing down and starting everything over, focus on what's most troubling. If focusing on what's just most good swear, sometimes my words just like they're tripping all over my teeth and my tongue trying to come out. Focus. When you start focusing on the trouble spot, if it's still troubling, then go ahead and slow that down. But slowing things down is always a good idea. So definitely good that you did that. But sometimes we need to fine-tune what we're looking at and just kind of narrow our scope of what we're trying to do there. I think that makes sense. Does that make sense? I hope so. So yeah, that's what you want to do approaching this guy. It's piece by piece. Always think of ways of how to simplify stuff when things are challenging. So, because you got 2 different rhythms here, a possible challenge may be going from bar 2 into 3. So if you find that kind of a pain in the butt, or maybe bar 4 going back into bar 1, single those out. And adding those extra steps, even though there are more steps, it can actually reduce the amount of time you're working on something. So, another thing, since we're going to have those, we're not going to meet again until 2 weeks. Like the maintenance speed stuff, just something to do each day just to keep things fresh once you have it down. 60, 80, 100, and 120. And this way you're not spending like a lot of time working everything up again and again every day once you finally have it. So we want to avoid burnout, but also want to make sure that you keep things fresh enough so this way we can continue on when I get back. Alright, so now let's get the metronome up. 60 beats a minute, of course. And here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. 2, 3, 4, 1 and 4, 1 and 4, 1, 120. 1, 2, 3, 4. So, in regards to number 3 from last time, the one you're going to keep working on, and this, basically any of the stuff, once you get to the higher speeds, if it feels like too much of a pain in the butt to count along with what you're saying, you can go ahead and stop. The most important thing with the counting is do it at the slow speeds. When you get to the faster stuff, definitely keep tapping your foot as you go. So, when we get to 16th notes, the 16th notes at 60 beats a minute will be the equivalent of playing 120 beats a minute with the 8th notes. So, you could argue that you should be able to do 8th note counting at 120. But at the same time, I want to make sure we're easing into everything. So, eventually when we're doing stuff at like 120 with 16th notes, that's definitely much more difficult to count because we have the 4 notes or 4 parts per beat. And a lot of the rhythm stuff that we're doing, part of it is to internalize these rhythms so you can feel the rhythm. And so just keep that in mind. If things start to feel a little too difficult when it gets faster, to continue counting out loud, so long as you can tap your foot and strum correctly, that's the most important thing at the faster speeds. Alright, next one, back down to 60. And here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just like from last week, pretend like this is carrying over into this. So I would have to write this out basically a second time without the repeat signs, with the time mark carrying across from this guy. So this is just to keep it simple. 90 beats a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 120. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, that's that. So if you have any questions at all, let me know. I will have my laptop with me. Plan on doing some promotion stuff like I usually do most days of the week anyway. So just send me an email if you have any questions. I'll be able to get back to you. And I'll see you again in 2 weeks.